We were attracted to the Sannam S4 launchpad because as a US institution with a strong academic faculty from India and already recruiting students from India, we felt a need to have some presence in India, but we also felt a need to be able to use expertise on the ground in India to support that work. And our intention at the University of South Florida was to create a launch pad, to create a place from which we could develop our brand profile, develop our university partnerships, and also develop our student recruitment broadly. So that is what attracted Sannam S4. We knew they had some expertise in the educational sector, and for us, we wanted to be able to have some on-the-ground experience to help us as we began to navigate this work in India. So we began discussions with Sannam S4 in the fall of 2010, and they have become our employment intermediaries since March of 2011. And we have 2 representatives who are employed by Sannam S4 here in Delhi who work for us and through Sannam S4, and the arrangements work very well. First, we wanted to be close to the US Embassy and to the consular section of the US embassies and to the commerce section. We knew that we were just creating a presence in India, and as a US institution we felt it important to be near the embassy. Our 2 representatives who work with Sannam S4 primarily help us in 2 areas, and when brought together those 2 areas have a larger impact. And those 2 areas are our university partnership work. And over the last year and a half, we have been working with institutions in India to look for opportunities for authentic and sustainable partnership. We are not interested in signing quick agreements. We're looking for profound research partnership that will allow us to do interdisciplinary and far-reaching applied research in critical areas for the University of South Florida. So we have that university partnership piece that's developing. At the same time, we're looking to augment the number of Indian heritage students who study at the University of South Florida. We have a large number already at our institution, but we've found the top Indian students to be a wonderfully productive and contributing part of our international student population. So we've been keen to develop that piece of the work. As a result of those 2 areas of work, the 2 representatives employed by Sannam S4 have been able to help us with our broader brand profile development. So we've had several pieces written about the University of South Florida in the Indian media over the last year, and we've had some high-profile visits, including a former president of India and significant business leaders from India to our campus over the last year as well. So we're looking to create our broader brand profile development, and as a part of that, therefore, we have expectations for student recruitment and also for our partnership work with specific universities in India. So when we started our conversations with Sannam S4, we did not know how to identify the staff that Sannam S4 would employ. And in that regard, Sannam S4 were very helpful to us because they were able to, through their own local knowledge, identify several different candidates for us to interview. We started the interview process at a distance from Tampa, Florida, where the University of South Florida was, and on one of our trips out to India, we were able to do face-to-face interview with a selection of candidates that they had recognized and they had identified based on our needs and the roles that we were trying to craft here in Delhi. So I will tell you that 2 representatives we have employed by Sannam S4, we love working with them, and they are highly skilled, and they bring the kinds of qualities that we had hoped we would find through an employment intermediary. So Sannam S4 were very helpful in that regard. The month-to-month handling of our 2 employees is done here by the Sannam S4 management. And that's very important for us as well. When you're half a world away, you need to have a sense of confidence and trust that the work is proceeding in a manner that will lead to successful outcomes. And we've always felt that Sannam S4 had absolutely our best interests in their work with us. And we've been very comfortable that not only has Sannam S4 managed the 2 employees who work on our behalf in a way that's very professional, but they've also taken into account our needs and our cultures in that management. So one of the 2 employees is a very skilled, very gifted, career-oriented individual. And that person has not needed as much hand-holding as perhaps other staff that they have in the office. And they've been able to adapt to that very well for us. So we've been very pleased with that month-to-month management of our staff. Sannam S4 management have been able to Skype with us on numerous occasions over the last year and a half. And the whole process has worked in a way that we've been pleased. We get monthly reports, and we feel that we can communicate to them at any time we need to. Certainly we feel they're available and accessible to us. On the issue of travel, that's interesting because we've actually wanted to travel to India to support the Sannam S4 staff working for us. And we've wanted to try and get to India 1 to 2 times a year. We'll send a delegation out. But having our staff here has allowed us to connect our faculty who are coming to India on research-based trips and to write grant writing endeavors, and also our faculty coming here for international conferences. We've been able to plug them into Sannam S4 and have them give guest lectures and guest speeches around India on our behalf, and that's been a really nice piece for us. So actually the amount of travel we do to India hasn't necessarily decreased, but it's become far more strategic and valuable to us. At the same time, the 2 staff at Sannam S4 who work for the University of South Florida or on our behalf have been able to go out into India. So that has meant our trips to India have been able to be more strategic as well, because we know that our staff are going to Mumbai and Bangalore and down to Chennai and Hyderabad and the other major cities of India, and also take advantage of opportunities that come along, such as the IIE USIEF Fair, which having them here in India has allowed us to connect into ways into recruitment fairs that we might not have been able to otherwise. For us, coming into India was something of an unknown. We have a large number of Indian heritage students at the University of South Florida. We have over 70 Indian heritage faculty at the University of South Florida, but we recognized both in terms of employment expectations and cultures and law, in terms of our relationships with universities and the expectations that university administration would have. Culturally, those expectations are different to our own, and those expectations needed to be managed. So to some extent, India was a new learning experience for us as a US institution. And by being able to have some support on the ground, we've been able to bring that India-based expertise to our work. You know, India is different to other countries where we do our work. In fact, as I reflect on the amount of work we do in other countries, most countries are quite idiosyncratic. But India in particular, it is a very large, bustling country. Every state has cultures of its own, or certainly from our perspective, it feels that way. A country with multiple languages, and a country where students in different parts of the countries appear to weigh and favor different disciplines more in their career choices. So when we came to India, we knew we had to unpack all of that. We knew we had to unravel all of those cultural nuances. And we also knew that we didn't have the expertise to do that alone. So India is an interesting market for us. It's an interesting place for us to have a presence. And it's been critical for us that we've had some support in doing that sort of cultural translation work as we've gone along. Partnering with Sannam S4, I can honestly say, has been a pleasure. They are accessible, they're certainly visible, and we have been pleased that amongst all their partners and clients in commerce and industry, they clearly have taken a strong interest in the educational sector as well. And they have management in the company that have some great skill in that area. So for us, it's very helpful to be able to come to an administrator at Sannam S4 with an educational background and ask them their opinion and get them to help the two staff who they employ on our behalf with strategic planning. And we look forward to that development as we go forward into the next years.